Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the New Hampshire Business Show. My name is Chris Pastrana, and today we are here with Amanda Silva of Cast Iron Content. How's it going?
Going great, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me in my first remote interview like this.
Absolutely. Happy to be a guinea pig anytime.
Yeah. Cool. So let's get started. Tell me a little bit about yourself and the business.
Sure. So I've basically been a writer my entire career, even when I was working in other jobs like teaching and being a skincare consultant at Macy's and just kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up. But my business basically is just a content marketing, just small agency where, I primarily take care of all of the copywriting needs for businesses of different sizes. And that looks different for everybody, obviously, whether it's blogging or website content or email marketing. But I'm kind of just like, I consider myself like a hired gun for writing needs. If it involves the written word, I will definitely jump at the chance to do it.
That's pretty interesting. So I think I've spoken to one other type copywriter before. So can you go into what is copywriting?
Mm-hmm. So copywriting, to my mind, is just anything that supports a brand or a business. Any type of written content, digital content, obviously in this day and age, that supports a product, a service, mission, an initiative. It's just, it's everywhere, obviously now, with everyone needing a website and social media presence. I think copywriting is increasingly important, which is kind of interesting because, a lot of times we hear about, the death of journalism and newspapers and the printed word and all of that. And that might be true, but really with everything just shifting over to a digital platform, copywriting is no less important than it's been in the past.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So why copywriting? It seems, when a lot of people think about businesses, they want to start writing, typically isn't one of them.
Yeah, I've heard that. For me, I don't know, writing is just always something that I love doing. It doesn't feel like work. I know that sounds insane to most people. But I, right through high school and college, I was always doing, student newspaper, like all the nerdy kid stuff. And then I ended up just pursuing graduate work in different writing fields and got my master's in creative writing, and then wasn't quite sure if I wanted to continue on the sort of track that I thought, which was going to be, to be like a professor somewhere, a tenured track program at a university. So I went back to school again and got my MFA in creative writing, but specifically creative nonfiction. And it's just, like I say, it's what I love to do, and getting paid to do what you love, I think, is the goal for most of us. So that's why copywriting and, doing it on my own terms and my own time, having my own business really just kind of fits what I have always wanted to do.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So this actually came to my mind while we were sitting here. So I know copywriting is kind of its own thing, but people probably get that mixed up with editing too. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming you probably get that a lot.
Yep, absolutely. Because I do both. Okay. A lot of times I find that people confuse copywriting, copy editing, and proofreading.
Yep.
So I'll have someone send something to me and say like, can you just, read over this and make sure it looks good? And to their mind, they just want like a quick polish, which is sort of where proofreading comes in.
Yeah.
Sometimes the problem, reveals itself to be that what they think they're saying, the message they think they're conveying, or what they want to convey actually is getting lost somewhere in translation. So that's kind of more of like the copy editing aspect, where you really sort of dive into the content itself more than just the, sentence level structure and typos and things like that.
Okay.
So, and then with copywriting, that's really, I consider that sort of more of a, it can be collaborative, certainly with a client. Like, this is what I want to say. I have no way to say it. here are like the bullet points. Now you just kind of go write something and I'll review it and we'll kind of make sure that it's on point.
Yeah.
But really copywriting is more just like the start to finish creation of something new.
Yeah. Huh, that's pretty cool. So I guess that brings up a question. So when a client hires you on, how
Mm-hmm.
much of kind of what you're doing is you and how much is kind of them? Because you're trying to get their voice and their style, but it's still you writing it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. No, that does make sense. I think it really comes down to like a case by case per client kind of
Yeah.
situation. I mean, I have some clients who reach out because they know that they need a presence online that they just don't have, whether it's because they don't have time to maintain it, they're not quite sure what they want to say. There could be a million different reasons behind that. I have other clients who are very clear on what their message is and what they want to say, and what they want to reinforce every week, whether it's through blog posts or social media posts or whatever. But they either hate writing, don't have time to write, and would prefer to just sort of shuffle that task off to somebody else. And so in those cases, I feel like I'm just sort of being, I don't know, I'm just sort of the messenger really right then. I just take whatever it is that they are trying to convey and get it across. But with other clients who really are just sort of either starting out or they're just not quite sure how to package and present themselves and what they have to offer, that's definitely more of a collaborative kind of, I think there's a little bit more me in there, at least at the start, until they start to develop their own voice and their own brand a little bit more.
Okay. So I guess I keep saying this. So I guess another follow-on point there would be um, kind of the mistakes you typically see people making.
Mm-hmm. I think the mistakes that I've seen really all stem from the same kind of issue, which is whenever a business or a brand or an individual is trying to be something that they're just not, whether they're trying to look bigger than they are or they're trying to, um, sort of be the jack of all trades. I think that really sometimes kind of getting back to basics and asking some really simple foundational kind of questions like, why do you do what you do? What is it that you love about your job? What is it that you're trying to share with your audience? Sometimes that kind of rights the ship. And then the messaging behind it ends up being more authentic and ultimately true to whatever it was they were trying to accomplish in the first place.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. That's good. Because I could see that being, especially for you, kind of troublesome was, back to what I said about how much is you, how much is them. You're trying to get their authentic, message across from your own hand or, lips, I guess.
whatever I need.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So I guess, what are some of the benefits a business gets from a copywriter? I know we've probably touched on it a couple of times now, but what do you think really benefits them?
I think it's just having that consistent definition of what their brand is all about and what they have to offer their clients. Um, it's the great thing about copywriting is that you really can control your message. Where I feel like there's so much out there in business that happens that we can try to control, but ultimately, a lot of it is kind of, you're sort of at the mercy of aspects that you have very little to do with. Whereas when it comes to copywriting and representing your brand, you're really in charge of what gets out there and what the message is, but then how you interact with your clients. So if you maintain like a really creative, informative, educational kind of blog about your business that kind of gives, your clients some behind the scenes glimpses into what you're doing, there's so much value to that. I mean, you're really kind of owning who you are and what you do. You're making it clear to your audience. You're establishing trust with your audience, and you're giving them a chance to interact with you in an authentic way. And depending on those interactions, you can then kind of tweak your product or your service or, whatever it is that you do specifically, based on that kind of ongoing feedback and dialogue.
Okay, that's awesome. So you mentioned blogging. That's actually a pretty important thing to talk about nowadays.
Mhm.
Um, how does that go with copywriting? Because I'm sure that's probably a lot of work. And yeah, I'm not sure if they would hire you to do like all their posts, but some of them. But I guess what should a company be doing when they focus on that area?
So the real key to blogging is consistency.
Hmm.
You really need to establish, whatever your blogging schedule is going to be, whether you're managing it or you hire someone like me to manage it. It really needs to be pretty set in stone how often you intend to post, when you intend to publish those posts, and what it is that you're trying to say and reinforce. Um, so the problem, I mean, the good news for me, the tough news for businesses, especially small businesses, is that in trying to juggle all of the demands of running a business and taking care of your clients' needs and all of that, blogging is usually one of the first things to go. People just don't have time for it. They just don't think that it's it's the thing that they can get back to. They can just kind of deal with it later, when really, if you have something set up where you're blogging on a consistent basis and you're constantly educating and informing your client base, that does tremendous work for your SEO initiatives. It's just really great social media fodder, whether you want to use it on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. I mean, however, you want to sort of recycle that material. You can just, excerpt something, you can highlight a statistic, a quote, whatever it is. Every blog post can actually do a lot of heavy lifting as far as your entire content marketing strategy.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because like you said, even just pulling a little excerpt from what you write, you
Mhm.
could use infinite amount of that on, you know, the little meme pictures you see coming out all the time of quotes from you and your business and, a little bit here, a little bit there. Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely see that being pretty useful and important.
Yeah, you can, I mean, use like a platform like Canva or something and highlight
Yeah.
a statistic, to post up on Instagram. I mean, you can really make it fit whatever the kind of structure of each social media channel is and what that channel is looking for. You really
Yeah.
can just take your blog content and make it fit each unique channel.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's a good point. So is there any other big things you wanted to kind of touch on and go over?
Trying to think. No, not really. I don't know. I just kind of love that um, I just love running into people who say that they, hate writing and or they like it just fine, but they don't have time for it. Because it just feels like more opportunities for me to really kind of help with my business. And it's just, more avenues for me to do what I love. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I can see that being really useful too, because I know I write, kind of semi-professionally on my own.
Hmm.
Or shouldn't call it semi-professionally, amateur, I should say. But, there's almost like a little bit of fear when you put out your own content. So it'd be kind of nice to kind of have someone else put your words to words and then just let it go, it kind of takes some of that fear away.
And then you have a copywriter to blame. Then you can just say, if someone's like, hey, I didn't like that, you can say, oh, well, talk to my copywriter about that. You can just deflect as much as possible.
Yeah. So it's still you, but, not,
Yeah, I let someone else do this.
That's really funny. So awesome. Thank you for joining me so much today. This has been interesting and a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So thank you all so much for listening. I love these little remotes. These are cool. I might do a little more of these as we go forward. But if you guys need a good copywriter, definitely reach out to Amanda. Oh, let people know how to reach out, get a hold of you.
Oh, sure. So the email address, best one is amanda@castironcontent.com. If you go to castironcontent.com, we've got the contact button to make it easier for you. And the phone number is 603-738-5221.
Okay, awesome. Looking forward to that. And everyone else, be good. Have a great day.